In this video, I'll tell you how to solve the equations for x. So I have the equation written on the board. Now, what I'm going to do, the first step will be I will try to get rid of this variable from the left-hand side. So how do I do that? So I can subtract 3x on both the sides to get rid of 3x. Now, why did I subtract 3x on both the sides? Because I have to balance the equation. If I subtract 3x on the left-hand side, I have to do the same thing to the right-hand side to balance it. I can't just subtract. It would be unfair to subtract anything from left-hand side or right-hand side and not doing the same to the other side. Now, look how I got rid of 3x. Now, 3x and 3x, this positive 3x and negative 3x cancel out each other. And here I have, so I will bring down 8, that is plus 8, but I can just write this as 8 equal to 5x minus 3x will be 2x, and then I have negative 2. Now, I want to isolate x because I have to find the value of x. So that means I want x by itself, and I have to try to get rid of anything which is with x. So let's try to get rid of 2 from the right-hand side. So what I can do is I can add 2 on both the sides. Now look, if I subtract 2, I am not going to get rid of 2 from this side because negative 2 minus 2 will be negative 4. So that's why I have to add 2 on both the sides. So you have to make sure that whatever the sign is with the number or the variable, you have to add or subtract the opposite of it. So if it's a minus sign, you add something to it. If it's plus sign, then you subtract something, like what we did here. 3x was positive, so I subtracted 3x from this to get rid of this. So if I add 2 to the right-hand side, I have to do the same thing to the left-hand side. Now I'll add 2. Now this is just simple. 8 plus 2 will be 10, which is equal to, now I have 2x. And you have to make sure that you can add 2 to the variable. You can add 2 to the number. And here we have added the variable to a variable. So you have to keep that in mind that you add or subtract the variables and the numbers. Now 2 and 2, they cancel out each other. So what do I have? 10 is equal to 2x. Now still, I have 2 with x and I want x by itself. So what I can do is, since 2 is in multiplication with x, I have to divide this time. So I will divide this by 2 on both the sides. Now 10 divided by 2 will be 5 is equal to 2 and 2 cancel out each other. So I have x remaining. That means the value of x is 5. Or you can just write x on the left-hand side and 5 on the right-hand side, so the value of x will still be 5. Now let's look at another example. So this time I have 7 minus parentheses 4x minus 5 is equal to 22. Now how do I solve this? First of all, I have to solve the parentheses. I have to get rid of the parentheses. That means I have to distribute the negative sign inside the parentheses. Let's do it. So 7, when I distribute the negative sign, so negative minus 4x will be, I have to write minus 4x. And then I have negative, so you can assume that this is 1. This is 1. So if you assume that this is 1, so negative 1 times 4x will be negative 4x. And negative 1 times negative 5 will be positive 5. So you have positive 5 here. Now we have successfully removed the parentheses, eliminated the parentheses from a question. Now we have 22 on the right-hand side. Now again, we have to do the same thing. We try to get rid of all these numbers, and we want x by itself. So let's see. Now we have 2 numbers. Here, this is one number and this is another number. Let's combine the like terms. These are the like terms because this is also a number and this is also a number. So it's positive 7 plus 5. 7 plus 5 will be 12. I've combined those 2 terms. Now I have what else is remaining here on the left-hand side. I have minus 4x. And then I have equal to 22. Now I want 4x by itself. So how do I get rid of 12 from here? If I have to get rid of 12, now you have to be careful. You have to get rid of 12. So 12 minus 12 will be 0. If you're adding it, you're still gonna end up with 24 because 12 plus 12 will be 24. So that's why you have to make sure that whatever number you have and whatever the sign is, if it's positive, then you subtract. If it's negative, you add. Now, when you're subtracting 12 on one side, you have to subtract 12 on the other side. So 12 and 12 here, they cancel out each other, and 22 minus 12, sorry, this is minus sign. 22 minus 12 will be 10. And I have equal to sign here, and I still have negative 4x. Yes, I'll bring down the sign as well, so negative 4x. Now, what do I do here? I want x by itself, right? I want x by itself. So I can divide this time because 4 is the coefficient of x. So whenever you have the coefficient with the variable, you have to divide to get rid of it. So I have to divide, and this time I have negative 4. That means I'll be dividing this by negative 4 because I just want x, not the negative sign. If I divide this by 4, I'm still going to get negative sign in front of x. And I want to get rid of the negative sign as well. So I will divide this by negative 4 on both the sides. Negative 4 and negative 4 cancel out each other, and I have x is equal to 10 over 4. And I can put the negative sign in front of the fraction. Now, this fraction, if you see, this is not in the simplest form. We can reduce this into the simplest form by dividing it with the greatest common factor. So you have to think of a number which is divisible by 10 and 4. So there's no other number other than 2 which is divisible by both. So let's divide this by 2. So 10 divided by 2 will be 5, and 4 divided by 2 will be 2, and we still have the negative sign in front of. So our value is x is equal to negative 5 over 2. This is our final answer. Now let's try to look at another example. Okay. So my next question is, I have 22x plus 16 is equal to 2x minus 4. Now let's solve this one. So I have parentheses in my question, and if you remember PEMDAS, the first thing you have to solve is the parentheses. So we'll get rid of the parentheses first. So I will not touch the left hand side for now. I'll just copy it down. So 22x plus 16 will be equal to, now I have to multiply 5 inside the parentheses. That means I have to distribute 5. So this will be 5 times 2x. 5 times 2x will be 10x. And then I have minus sign. So 5 times, so I can just write minus sign here. 5 times 4 will be 20. Now, what do you see here? Since we want x by itself, we want to let's get rid of 10x, because if I get rid of 22x, looks what's going to happen. If I get rid of 22x, I will subtract 22x here and 22x here. When I do that, I will end up with a negative number in front of the variable, and I don't want to do that because then I will have to get rid of the negative sign. So what I'm going to do is I will subtract 10x on both the sides. Let's subtract 10x on both the sides. So when you do that, you get rid of 10x from here, and 22 minus 10 will be 12x, and then I have plus 16 is equal to, I have negative 20. Now, I want x by itself. I want to isolate x. That means I have to get rid of plus 16 from here. So what do? we have to subtract 16 on both the sides. And you have to make sure that you do that on both sides of the equation to balance it. So negative 16. Okay, so I have the 16, positive 16 and negative 16 cancel out each other. So on the left-hand side, I have 12x is equal to, now negative 20 minus 16 will be negative 36. Now you see that the coefficient of x is 12. Coefficient of x is 12. Now you have to be careful. Whenever you have the coefficient with the variable, you have to divide. So this time again, we're going to divide it. So we'll divide it by 12 on both the sides to isolate x. So 12 and 12 cancel out each other. On the left-hand side, we have x, and on the right-hand side, we have negative 36 over 12. Now we have to try to reduce this to the simplest form. So we can divide it by 6, but let's divide it by 12 because that is the greatest number we can divide both the numbers. So 36 divided by 12 will be 3, and then 12 divided by 12 will be 1. And I still have the negative sign in front of my answer. So x is equal to negative 3 over 1 will be negative 3. So my final answer will be negative.